This Celtics prospect is breaking out and deserves to be on the roster. Neemias Queta just put up a fantastic performance for the Maine Celtics as he's recently been playing down in the G League, and the former G League MVP is dominating. Can he be the final roster spot that the Celtics are patiently waiting for? We'll be discussing all of that on this episode here on Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Veliz. Before we get in on all this Neemias Queta news, 78% of you guys who watch our videos and want to make sure you stay up to date on daily Boston Celtics news and content are sadly not subscribed. And if you're one of those thousands of people who are part of those group, make sure to hit the subscribe button, as Celtics Digest is the place for you to get all of your Celtics news. Like this video, we upload daily Celtics content, so if you want to make sure you stay up to date, hit the subscribe button. But without further ado, let's dive in and get on this Neemias Queta news. Grab a snack, as it is going to be a jam-packed episode as we dive in, looking at Neemias Queta is him after he had a monstrous performance in the G League. Now you might be saying, Bruce, he played in the G League. That's not really a big deal. He is a former G League MVP. This is things that we should expect to see out of Neemias Queta. But for a guy who has been back and forth being on a two-way deal, playing up with the Celtics, playing down with Maine, and recently with the front court depth issues with, Luke Kornet having some issues before the All-Star break, Kristaps Porzingis having some lingering issues, and Al Horford having to rest on the back-to-backs. Neemias Queta was a guy that the Celtics would use for 10 to 15 minutes per night, or when those guys were healthy, he would eventually just be there for insurance. So for a guy who, is one of those stay-ready guys, as Xavier Tillman recently has said, one of those guys that's got to be ready to go for the Celtics, if he's not getting playing time on the actual team and he's getting sent down and playing good, that is fantastic for this squad. And we're going to dive in looking at this game where Neemias Queta was the player of the game for the Maine Celtics as the Celtics beat the Westchester Knicks. But Neemias Queta, 24 points tonight, 15 total rebounds, 4 blocks, and a really good shooting percentage as well as 9 for 11 from the field. And if we want to look at another tweet, this is from Tomac Kortelewski, excuse me if I mispronounced your name, but Neemias Queta had 24 points, like I mentioned, 9 for 11 from the field, 15 boards, 5 assists, and 4 blocks in 25 minutes tonight for the Maine Celtics earlier today, and they're a 130-100 win versus the Westchester Knicks. The Maine Celtics had 3 total players that put up double-doubles, which was absolutely fantastic to see. But a guy like Neemias Queta, who we've talked about on this channel a plethora of times, and a guy who I've hyped up personally from the start of the year, who I think could be a solid backup center, has really outperformed himself recently in this G League, and I think he's trying to prove the Celtics a point and trying to prove to Brad Stevens that he deserves that 15th roster spot. Now, as we've discussed multiple times on this channel, and we'll look at this tweet here from Noah Dalzell, who does a perfect job covering the Boston Celtics. She tweeted out on February 11th that the Celtics were likely not to make a final decision on the 15th roster spot anytime soon, whereas Brad Stevens hopped on NBC Sports Boston pregame and kind of discussed it, giving a little bit of a quote here saying, "We need to utilize this time to evaluate, knock on wood, if we deal with any injuries or anything like that, we just have to be a little bit patient," kind of hindering and letting Celtics fans know that going into the All-Star break and kind of after our All-Star break a little bit, they're just going to wait to the last possible option, see what they kind of need, see who's available, and then make the best evaluation there. Obviously, since we've kind of come out of this post-All-Star break right now, there is kind of rumblings about that 15th roster spot. We discussed in a video earlier this week talking about Otto Porter Jr. possibly being a buyout option for the Celtics. If you guys missed that video, definitely check that out. But he could be a possibility as a wing veteran as well. But a guy like Neemias Queta, who I personally think could deserve that 15th roster spot, is a guy that is desperately competing for it, and showing out in tonight's game might have given him a little bit of a boost on getting that guaranteed spot. I know a lot of other Celtics fans throughout the whole media, like myself, want to see Neemias Queta get this roster spot, especially like I mentioned at the beginning of the video. He was on that stay ready squad because they had lingering injuries at that position. Obviously, the Celtics got a little bit more of insurance. They got a guy named Xavier Tillman, who's a little bit more of a power forward center compared to Lamar Stevens, who's a little bit of a small forward, power forward. So that helps him out in the big department. So they could go after a guy maybe as a wing depth to help out with Sam Hauser, possibly with the buyout market, or possibly, another big man. There's a plethora of other guys. I know someone in the comments mentioned Harry Giles. He's a good friend of Jayson Tatum. That could be a guy that the Celtics go after. But Neemias Queta, I think, definitely deserves it. He's played a ton for the Celtics. He excelled really, really well in that Western Conference road trip for the Celtics, where he had a bunch of injuries and he put up 2 double-doubles in 4 games, which was absolutely fantastic for him. He rose his stock with the Celtics fans, and then he kind of disappeared, and he's gone down to Maine, and he's kind of performed really great. So I think he could be an impact guy for this team. And I think at this point, when we're kind of at the roster where we're just kind of seeing who's available with injuries, there's no really guys really going to get bought out, possibly Otto Porter Jr., I think Neemias Queta is the guy to go. But if possibly the Celtics do find a guy out on the buyout market that they do like, Neemias Queta staying in this G League might not be a bad idea. Like I mentioned, if we want to look back at these stats, 24 points, 15 rebounds, 4 blocks, 5 assists, 9 for 11 from the field. He's getting better at finishing at the rim, and that was his main issue with this real Celtics squad. Like I mentioned, that was one of his issues, kind of, not fouling and finishing at the rim is what he needed to improve on. And he's looking like he's doing that very well in the G League. So if the Celtics ultimately want to, pump the brakes on the Neemias Queta hype train this season, but kind of guarantee some insurance at the backup center next year, maybe giving Neemias Queta some run in the G League to actually develop and really, really play at his full best potential could do him wonders. Him, knowing and confidently himself saying, I've won the MVP of this league before. I know I can do it again. I can play in this league and just dominate, and then next season get a guaranteed gig. I think that can motivate him even more. And he has kind of similarities to a Robert Williams-esque guy. So having, another versatile offensive rebounder that brings a lot of energy and a high-flying big who can catch some lobs will desperately help out the Celtics in that aspect, as Kristaps Porzingis can do that job very, very effectively, but having another one of those athletes as well, just bona fide, helps out the team. And also, it all depends too. We don't know if Xavier Tillman's going to be here long term. They do have his bird rights, but we'll have to wait and see how he works out. I don't know if Brissett's going to be staying long. Al Horford's getting a little bit older. Luke Kornet as well. So a guy like Neemias Queta, keeping him in that system and keeping him growing in the G League, if you're not going to bring him up this year, could just motivate him, get him ready for next season. And I ultimately think by the start of next year, Neemias Queta will have a guaranteed spot on this team and will have guaranteed playing minutes, regardless if that's, a utility / tool guy who is a stay ready guy but gets the first stay ready guy off the bench, or if he's truly the backup center, which I think if he stays in the G League this full year he can truly be for the Celtics next season, then that is the home run swing and what the Celtics are hoping for. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you guys think that Neemias Queta should get that call up, get that rise, become the 15th man for this Celtics squad, or do you guys think he should ultimately stay in the G League? Regardless of what decision the Boston Celtics make, I do believe that Neemias Queta is a rising star and he's a great prospect for the Celtics to bring in. And GM Brad Stevens does it again, getting these amazing two-way players for the Celtics to be able to develop and harness. And Neemias Queta, I think, could be one of those guys. Like I said, thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode here of Celtics Digest. If you guys are new here or are still at this point in the video and you still aren't subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on the daily Boston Celtics content coverage that we bring out to you. Thank you guys so much, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.